I I love all of my students because every one of them reminds me of someone in my life. One of my students is Kimia. She reminds me of my childhood. Although she's a girl and I'm a boy, she's really cute and really kind. And sometimes she gets angry and she gives me a piece of her mind whenever I ask her not to speak Farsi. I have another student whose name is Hoda. She reminds me of shy people because she never looks me in the eye and she always looks away. I have other student. Her name is Mahsa. Mahsa reminds me of my young self because she used to be my student 6 years ago, and every time I look at her, she reminds me of those days, and I have a lump in my throat, and I want to cry because those days were really good. I used to have a very good life, but these days my life is not as good as it used to be. I also want to talk about Alice. Alice reminds me of two things. Actually, she reminds me of Alice in Wonderland. The reason that she reminds me of Alice in Wonderland is that she speaks a lot, but in her mother tongue, she speaks too much, and sometimes I ask her not to speak a lot. Another thing that she reminds me of is having a child. Whenever I look at her, I want to have a child by myself. I am really proud of her for having a daughter. She is 27 years old, but her daughter is 6 years old. And she inspires me. Shamim, another student of mine, reminds me of Serendipity, I think. I don't know why, but whenever I look at her, I remember Serendipity. And Sohail reminds me of London. Because he Jurab, okay. Actually, Sohail reminds me of socks and fathers, because on Father's Day usually we buy socks for our fathers and we don't appreciate them enough. Sohail reminds me of my father too, and Sohail also reminds me of stingy people because he doesn't spend as much money as other people do. Because he was born in Mashhad, and people of Mashhad are believed to be really stingy. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say.